So just recently, Disney was awarded patent number 9,424,467. Or as they also like to call it, the Gaze Tracking Recognition with Image Location Patent. Now, what does that mean? Well, if you were really paying attention, you noticed that I was looking below the camera because there was no way I was going to remember that number, and so I had to look away. Now, subtly, you probably noticed that I was looking down. What this patent does is it allows audio animatronics to do something very similar. You see, the technology behind this patent would allow audio animatronics to measure the whites of people's eyes, people around the park, whether it's part of a show or part of a ride or something like that, and use that measurement to figure out where the guest is looking. So in short, it allows the animatronic to know where a guest is looking so that they can know whether or not to interact with them. I think this is really cool. But what I found really interesting was that when it was brought up on the latest episode of the Tomorrowland Transit Authorities, the podcast I do with Christine, she thought it was pretty creepy. And it made me start to think about the future of technology when it comes to things like audio animatronics, because there is something that is known as the uncanny valley. It is this sensation in which technology gets more and more lifelike, yet it reaches a point where it's not like life enough for us to buy it in our brains as being real. And so it creates this sense of unease. And some people think that technology like this might bring animatronics further into the uncanny valley or into the uncanny valley to begin with. I think it's generally accepted that a big part of human interaction between two people is something as simple as making eye contact. And today, with animatronic technology, any sense of eye contact is purely coincidental. It just happens to be that an animatronic's looking in a certain direction, and maybe you're looking, in the path of that direction, and then it comes across as eye contact. Yet, because you can move a little to the left and a little to the right and it won't follow you, that illusion gets broken very quickly. But with technology like this, the first step is tracking where guests are looking, but maybe the second step is to have the animatronic react very specifically to where that gaze is. So in my mind, I'm thinking animatronics that can make eye contact with you while interacting with you and hold that eye contact. I think that more than anything can go further into bridging that low drop of the uncanny valley and getting us into pretty lifelike representations of whether it's people or animals or creatures or whatever it is. Now, of course, I think it's worth pointing out, as is the case with pretty much any patent that gets filed by any company, is that just because they filed the patent and just because they were awarded it doesn't necessarily mean this technology is coming. It could be coming years down the line. It could just never happen at all. It's very common for a company to patent ideas it develops just to have, just in case they decide down the line that they do want to work on it, they'll have that patent and so they'll be safe. So, whenever you hear news of Disney or any other company, being awarded a patent for some new technology, doesn't necessarily mean it's right around the corner. So yeah, I think this is possibly great for the future of immersion in Walt Disney World attractions. At first I couldn't really think of anything outside of the simple stuff of looking at a animatronic and that being the trigger for it to go off and do something. But think about how you can combine all these technologies, not just using that tracking technology so that the animatronic can sort of keep an, eye contact with you, but as somebody in the comments had mentioned, what about using Magic Band technology? What comes to mind is I play occasionally the MLB games on the PlayStation, and one of the things they've done over the years is they've accrued this massive library of names. So the idea is I can put in my name, and then when my player comes up to bat, the announcer will say my name, and that's a really cool way to add immersion. Now imagine if you take that technology, take the Magic Band technology, take this eye contact technology that you could develop using this patent, and you all of a sudden have this system in which not only can an animatronic recognize where you're looking, not only can they look at you and sort of interact with you, but what if they can talk to you? They can say your name. Sure, this is really simplistic when you're thinking about the biggest picture of artificial intelligence, but even if it's just saying a couple of lines, what if you're on a ride and suddenly one of the animatronics on the side looks right at you, not just in your direction, but right at you, and goes, "Hey, Rob, we need you to help save the world," because, I don't know, it's a world-saving ride or something like that. That's where I see this technology going. But I did find it very interesting because I do feel like the reaction to this patent news is pretty split between excitement and sort of unease at how this seems to be a creepy thing to do. And I want to know what you guys thought. What do you think about this news? Maybe this is pushing it too far. Maybe for you, you know, a theme park should stay safely in the side of fantasy, but maybe you're one of the type of people who wants that, you know, 100% immersion as close as possible. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to have this discussion because I think it's really fascinating. Again, I don't think we're going to see this in the parks anytime soon. This sounds like the sort of thing that maybe we'll see in a couple of years at best, but it is super exciting. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you want to see more Disney videos and hear about more Disney news, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button. I do 3 videos a week. If you want to catch it on the podcast that I mentioned earlier, I do a weekly Disney podcast called the Tomorrowland Transit Authorities with my good friend Christine. You could check that out in the description below. I'll have links. And whatever you're doing this week, make the most of it. See you next time.